Hi there guys, we're going to put a game on of Pickett's Charge. Haven't played this one for a while, haven't indeed played any games for a while, been away on some holidays and a lot of travel with work, not had too much of a chance of doing any videos. So we've got our American Civil War figures out. I'll perhaps do another short video of the American Civil War armies so you can have a see what we've got, but we're just going to play a small scenario to get ourselves back in the hang of these rules. I haven't played them for a long time. So we're going to just do a small division size game. American Union forces will have about a division, as will the Confederates, well, just a couple of brigades each to be precise. The objective of the game will simply be for the Union forces to hold the crossroads, and the rebels are trying to clear and break through the Union lines. Right, let's have a look at the forces we've got on the table. Okay, so for the Union forces, we'll have a look at the overall deployment here. We're fighting across the table, so it's about a 6x5 table we've got here today. We've got a river running down the centre of the table. This is the crossroads. They're just the other side of the river, where those two large trees are standing, and that's the position the Union forces are going to have to hold. Over there on the far side of the river, we'll come to those troops in a minute. We've got most of our infantry brigade applied here on the left. We've got two regiments in the front line with a battery of Parrots, a 3-gun battery there. Supporting, or 3 model battery there representing 6 guns, and we've got 2 more regiments in reserve. The 3rd regiment of this 5-regiment brigade, and let's just have a look at what the brigade is. The brigade's made up of troops, I think mainly from Pennsylvania, certainly that's what that unit is. I think the others are all the same, and we've got a 3rd brigade. Sorry, a 5th regiment over here on the left. Oh, just tripped over from my fireplace. This 3rd brigade is supported by 2 units of Union cavalry that are skirmishing and holding this forward position, again, near this crossroads. Now, opposing these, we've got 2 brigades of rebel troops. This one of 4 battalions. Again, 6 bases or 5 bases strong, so they all count as regular sized units. And these rebel troops are all veterans. And then for the 2nd Rebel Brigade, we've got 3 regiments, again, all of regular sized units, veteran troops. These are all Alabama. I'm just checking on these ones. These are all from Georgia. And we have a small 8th Regiment skirmishing here as part of the Alabama force. That's a small size regiment, as indeed are the 2 Union cavalry regiments. And we've got a battery of 3 model guns, so a 6-gun battery of Napoleons there supporting the rebels. Now for the Union troops, they're all regular quality, and if they manage to hold the crossroads with their regular quality troops, that'll give them an improved victory condition, but they do have the ability from turn 6 to call on another brigade of Union troops as reinforcements to help try and counterattack and recapture this crossroads if indeed they lose it. All right, so that's a basic idea of the scenario. So rebels are attacking, Union are defending, Unions have to hold the crossroads. Unions are all regular troops, the rebels are all veterans, but the Unions do have a 2nd brigade to bring on as a reserve. Right, let's crack on with the first turn. Okay, so we'll roll for Union ADCs first. We're giving 1 ADC for each brigade, so 1 of the Union brigades is off table, so only activates on a 5 or a 6. Let's do them first. They do get an ADC there for that brigade. They don't get a brigade for one for their brigade that's on table, and I am giving them a bonus of 1, but that also fails. So only 1 ADC activation for the Union, and we'll do the rebels now. Right, we'll roll for our rebel general here. We do have 2 brigades on table, so they'll be activating on 2+, and I'm also giving them a bonus one. So we've all got the same ADC pool, and actually the rebels roll 3, so that's good. All right, we'll allocate those ADCs. I'll start doing the rebels. They are going to allocate, I think, 2 to this right-hand brigade with the artillery battery and give a re-roll to that brigade. The Union will simply roll for a re-roll on activation for their whole brigade. All right, let's see if we get our artillery off. No, we roll a 2 for the rebels. We'll use our re-roll. We roll a 3. So we do indeed have artillery assault and activation on this right-hand brigade. Left-hand brigade gets no re-roll. They are also active. So we have the whole rebel force active, and we have artillery assault in place. Rolling for the Union forces. They are also active, so we'll now roll for initiative. All right, rolling for initiative. So the rebels get a 9, the Union troops get a 3, so the rebels, perhaps as appropriate for the assaulting forces, get the first turn. All right, over to the rebels. They get to move first. Okay, so we'll kick off Confederate firing first. We're going to start with our skirmishers here, opening fire, or sharpshooters really, rather, opening fire against this Union unit in front of them behind the rail fence. It is at long range for their rifled muskets. Alright, so being skirmish fire, we just get 1 for each base. Each base is 4 figures, so we've got 12 figures there, so that's 3 bases. That'll be 3 dice, but we're firing at infantry in cover, so that takes it down to 2 dice, and we need 6s. Because why do we get 2 penalties? Oh yes, we are. Let me just check this again. No, we don't get a penalty for movement, but we do just get that penalty for being in cover. So 3 shots goes down to 2, and we need 6s for long range. No casualties from our skirmish battalion. All right, we'll fire our 12-pound on Napoleons next, and they've got artillery assault. All right, so these guns are firing at effective range. They are going to do counter-battery fire because they are worried what this Union battery will do to the Confederate assault that's going on the right flank. So we roll 2 dice for the artillery effect and 2 combat dice because of the artillery assault. So we are firing an effective volley. Let's just check out how I do the firing. All right, so it's a -3 modifier for being artillery battery that is the target, and it's another, so it's -2 for that and -1 for the fence, so that takes it to -3. So we get a 4 and a 3 on the casualty dice. That will be 1 casualty and a 3 and a 3 and a 6. That goes down to a 3, so that means a fatigue casualty on ourselves and 1 casualty on the Union battery. Not great. Not a great effect from our first salvo from these guys. Okay, so our 1st Alabama Regiment is going to open fire. This will be at using a long range effect, and the enemy is in cover, so that'll be -1. So a 6 will go down to a 5, which at long range is half a casualty. So on a 4, 5 or 6, which we don't get, we cause a casualty on the Union troops. So not great turn of firing from the right hand flank here. I think the 2nd Battalion's fire is effectively masked and it's at long range. So we'll now move across and take our firing from our 2nd set of Confederates. All right, longer range firing here. We'll see if anything's in before we do any dice rolling. All right, so our skirmisher line is going to open up first, needing 6s as it's firing at long range. We get 1 6 there, so that's 1 casualty on that Union cavalry. And then we'll do a volley from this infantry battalion. They're also firing at long range, as it's about 14 inches. So they will open up against the 2nd Regiment of Skirmishers. They moved and target's in cover, so this will be at -3. They have rolled a 9, that's not too bad, so that goes down to a 6. That is also half a casualty, 4, 5 or 6, yeah. So that's one casualty against both of those Union units. All right, now the Union will return fire. All right, so both Union units will open up with their skirmishing fire. They again get 3 dice for the number of bases they've got, and their rebels are all in cover. So first one, no casualties, again needing 6s as we're at long range, and the second one does cause a casualty, so first casualty is on the rebels as that right-hand regiment takes a casualty from the Union cavalry. Okay, so first things first, the Union artillery battery will open up with its rifle cannons, opening fire against this front unit of Confederate infantry. The supporting units aren't close enough to get bounced through, I don't think. I will just check that. I think the distance will be 6 inches, and we'll see. All right, so this is an effective range shot by the Union artillery. They roll better. They roll a 7 for effective range, is 1.5 casualties. Yeah, 1.5 casualties, so 4, 5 or 6, it'll be 2. It is 2 casualties on the rebel brigade there, the lead rebel brigade. And then there's a volley at long range also coming through from that Union infantry regiment. So a 7 at long range will be a 1 more casualty. So that's 3 casualties on the Union troops, on the rebel troops as they push forward on this far right flank. And then we'll fire at the skirmishers as well with the 2nd regiment. They get a 9. Okay, so there's going to be some fair modifiers against this. So they are firing at skirmishers, so that's -2, and they're -1 for being in cover, so that's a -3 modifier, so that's only a 6. For a long range volley is half a casualty on these skirmishers, and they don't do anything. All right, so that's it at the end of the first turn. Not too much going on, some long range exchange of musketry as the Confederates launch their attack on both flanks, and the rebels hold their ground and the Union troops hold their ground and respond. All right, on we go with turn 2 with placing of ADCs, and then all right. So probably should have rolled videoed that ADC roll off. So the Confederates went first. They rolled their 3 ADC dice. They all became active, so they had 3 ADCs to deploy. Put them all on this right-hand brigade because, again, as we said last time, we want to try and neutralise that artillery opposite us. So we put artillery assault on and put a reroll on the activation of the brigade. That all went well. They activated, and our left-hand brigade, without any activation dice, also went active. For the Unions, we rolled a 1 and 2 2s, so we have no active ADCs, and we rolled for the brigade activation, and unfortunately, they have gone hesitant. Being defensive, not so much of a problem, because they might be able to move their reserves to the right, because they're not approaching the enemy, but not great for the Union. Right, let's roll for activation. This will be -1 for the Union troops. The rebels roll a 5, the Unions roll an 8. So despite not having any active brigades, the Union do have initiative. I don't think that they'll be doing any charges. We'll see what happens on the rebels. All right, here we are on turn 2 on the right flank. The lead Alabama regiment has broken into skirmish line and then moved forward to provide some shielding for the 2 regiments that are planning to assault through them into the Union line. This will allow these guns to remain unmasked to provide some protection from fire. In addition, the Alabama sharpshooters have moved around the flank of the Union line to try and do some enfilade firing down that Union line, but they will be also open to some fire from those Union regiments that were prepared to cross the river to support their colleagues. Those ones have had to halt because of the hesitant order, so they weren't able to move any further forward. When you see what the Confederates have done over here, so the leading Confederate regiment that was in skirmish formation has moved up across the fence line and is about to engage in close-range musketry with the dismounted Union cavalry, and they've got their support nearby. The 2nd Regiment has crossed the fences, crossed the railings, but unfortunately went unformed when it did that, and its support continues to move up. So another exchange of fire. Unions will be the ones firing first, as they have initiative. We'll start over in this flank as the skirmishers open up against these advancing Confederate lines. So it's close range firing with no cover, but these skirmishers on the right will be firing at skirmishers opposite them. So they'll need 5s or 6s. Don't do a casualty. And then the other regiment open up against the unformed line. They will get 3 dice because they're not in skirmish formation and they have no cover, and they cause 2 casualties on that advancing rebel line. Okay, so the artillery battery will open fire against the skirmish line that's in front. Can fire canisters, but being rifled guns will have no effect. That's a -2, so that's actually a fatigue casualty because that 4 goes down to a 2, so that's a fatigue casualty on the Union battery, not great. And then their regular infantry regiment will fire at close range. Again, they are firing at skirmishers, so targeted skirmishers -2 off this roll. And they roll an 8, that goes down to a 6. At effective range is 1 casualty on that advancing skirmish line. So no great effect there from this Union fire. All right, now a chance for the rebels to counter battery again. So they're going to do the same thing. This will be at a -3 against, terrible result. It's another fatigue casualty on themselves and nothing from their combat dice. Clearly damp powder here for the rebels. All right, the skirmish line will open up. That's got 5, 6, 7, 6 bases worth of firing, so that'll be 6 dice. It's close range, so we need 5s or 6s. And again, no firing, clearly wet powder, no great effect, no effect from that lot of firing. Finally, then our enfilading skirmishers will be open up from the flank. Infantry fire modifier. No adjustments for flanking fire, and no casualties. Terrible fire this turn. So no casualties at all caused by the rebels on the right flank. On the left flank, they will open fire with their infantry brigade here. 5 bases, a couple extra because they're small bases, and they're in the open, but we're firing at skirmishers. We'll take 1 dice out. We need 5s or 6s. Wow, that's good. That's 2 casualties against the Union cavalry. All right, Charlie's just arrived and he rolled off camera before we had finalised all the modifiers, so he's a bit gutted because he rolled a 10, aren't you, Charlie? That's the gutted face. We'll now roll again. So it's actually a modifier of -3, not -2. So you did pretty well. You roll an 8, that goes down to a 5, which at effective range is 1 casualty on the Union cavalry skirmishers. All right, so Confederates rolled for ADCs. They got 2 ADCs, which they put them on for artillery assault, but unfortunately went hesitant. So the artillery assault failed, and they are again hesitant. For the Confederates, they rolled only 1 ADC. They put that on as a reroll on their brigade on the Union left, Confederate right. They successfully acted that brigade and the other brigade, and they have won the initiative. It was a draw, and the 1 hesitant modifier for the Union force resulted in a Confederate win. So Confederates can get to charge this turn. Okay, so we've got 2 charges executed by Charlie. Firstly, over here, Charlie, do you want to say what you did on this flank?
I charged the Confederate skirmishers into the Union skirmishers.
Yeah, so the Union cavalry will have to do some defensive fire against those. And then over here, Charlie's out of the room for a second, so I charged in with the 2 supporting units of Confederate troops. Unfortunately for them, the charge range was 11 inches. I needed to roll anything but a 1. So what did Dad roll?
A 1.
A 1. So they only went 10 inches of their 11-inch charge range, but they did end up within 3 inches of the Union line. So they can still charge home, but they automatically go unformed. But we'll have to do the defensive fire and see how the Confederates react to the defensive volleys of the Union. Right, here's the defensive volley from the Union troops. 9. That's pretty good. So a standard volley on a 9 is 3 casualties. Could you mark 3 casualties on the lead battalion? And we'll have to do a see the elephant test. All right, let's do the see the elephant test. These are veterans. You roll a 2.
Do you want to go low or high?
You want to go high. So that's a fail. So modifiers. You're not flanked. You don't have any casualty adjustments yet. But you are whipped. So we will just check what whipped means under these rules. Right, I'm not sure I've got this 100% right. They retreat and they fall back behind a formed unit. I'm not sure there actually are any formed units. Thinking about it, they fell back behind their own unformed supporting battalion, but because they weren't both unformed doing that charge, I think they have to go back the full retreat distance. So we'll adjust that and move them back to their full retreat distance. All right, let's do a charge over here, Charlie. So I've got a defensive volley. So I've got 3 dice, but down to 2 because you're skirmishers. I cause 1 casualty on that regiment, if you could mark that up. I think they might already have casualties on them. No? So that won't cause a pause, so we now do a charge test. Right, so you're veteran, that's 0 modifier. You're not charging the flank or rear, you didn't suffer 2 casualties, you don't have any casualties. The defenders are not elite or veteran. We're not skirmishers versus close order, we're both skirmishers. Neither of us are unformed because we're both skirmishers. So it's a straight roll off, but I am a small unit. Does that make any difference? Doesn't seem to make any difference that I'm a small unit. Okay, so let's roll. 2 dice for the charge. I get a 5.
That's 6.
Right, I'm going to re-roll my 1, assuming I can do re-rolls. I will just. All right, so Charlie gets a support. What did you roll?
2.
A 2. So that's a 2 minus 1 goes down to a 5. And actually the Union had a 6. So that's a -1 on the charge results. So the charger halts and volleys, so which is exactly the same as a +1 would have been. So you roll a combat dice for your charge. So roll 3 combat dice, I guess. Okay, no casualties, so we're just standing and volleying next to one another. All right, let's crack on. Let's do turn 3. Let's roll for ADCs. Both sides get 3 dice for their ADCs. I need a 5 for my off-table brigade. I don't get that. And for my on-table brigade, I only get 1 ADC. What do the Confederates get? 1 ADC. Let's allocate that ADC. I'm going to do it as a brigade reroll on the Union. What are you going to do for the Confederates, Charlie? You're going to put a brigade reroll on your left-hand brigade this time.
Wait, is that 1 big brigade or is that 2?
No, that's 1 big brigade. All right, let's roll for activation then, Charlie. Do you want to roll for your brigade that's assaulting at the moment? They are active, and then your brigade with the reroll also is active. And then the Confederates do need their reroll, and they roll a 5, so they are active. Let's roll for initiative. It's just a straight roll-off. No, it's only 1 brigade.
I thought you had 3 ADCs though.
Sorry? Yeah, 3 ADCs because my other one's off table. I roll a 7, you roll a double 1. Charlie has not done well with his dice this afternoon, so that means the Union have initiative. Okay, so Charlie's charged again with his skirmishers against the cavalry skirmishers. I get an 8.
7.
You can re-roll on -1 one of your dice.
But isn't he formed up now?
Oh, he is formed up now, yeah, so actually just a re-roll.
10.
Okay, you got a 10 against an 8. So you have won by 1 to 2. So Charger's reaction is to halt and volley. So you get to volley. All right, so that's 5 CDs from your formed regiment opening fire on my skirmishers. I think you probably... All right, just roll them.
I thought the camera was on.
It is on, yeah. But you probably lose one because you're firing at skirmishers.
Oh.
So, yeah. How many did you get?
2.
All right, so 2 more casualties on my unit, and I go unformed. So that was up to 5 casualties. So the defender, I hold unformed. Okay, that's it. So no other charges, so it's now Union movement. All right, so Charlie has completed all his movement. He's formed up his 2 Alabama regiments. The skirmishers have gone into reformed, being behind a formed unit, and what was their supporting unit of Alabama infantry also formed itself up. It formed first. It created a formed unit for the skirmishers to form up behind, and the unit that retired has also formed up. For the Unionists, our 2nd Reserve Battalion, or regiment rather, has moved across up to the river line. We've moved our Reserve Battalion forward for something for the cavalry potentially to fall back behind, and Charlie has formed up his troops. All right, it's firing first. Union to kick off. We'll start on the left-hand side.
It was donkey elephant.
See the elephant. All right, this is a close range volley by the Union troops against that attacking Rebel Brigade. We roll an 8, that's good, but not brilliant. So that's 2, and a see the elephant test for your Confederates. You're on a high number, you've rolled a 7, you're veterans, you're fine. So that's 2 casualties on the front regiment. We are going to fire our guns. They're going to try and fire canister, but they're rifled, so that doesn't do any good, but they are going to fire at close range. Roll a 3, another terrible result. I think, Charlie, that's a fatigue casualty. All the guns on both sides have done in this game is pretty much cause fatigue casualties on one another. So let's mark that up. So they got to 2 casualties.
Will be any other firing? Because didn't your unit over there support your...
No, they didn't support, because skirmishers can't support. So we will fire our skirmishers against your unit that's crossed the fence line down here. We cause 1 casualty on them. The other ones were engaged in combat. No, sorry, Charlie, it's the one in the open in the middle there. That goes up by 1. That's it for my firing. Now over to you, Charlie.
So the artillery's going to fire against that line unit next to the gun.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, sure.
Do you still get a...
effective range, I think. Do you want to just check the range, Charlie?
Do you still get -2 for shooting artillery?
You get -2 for shooting artillery, yeah. Check the range so we can just check your 12-pound smoothbore. So you want it to be between 15 and 27 inches for effective range.
Oh yeah, 27.
Okay, so just in effective range, that's good. All right, so this is just 2 dice for an effective range artillery volley at -1. 7 goes down to a 6. That's 1 casualty on that brigade. If you get me a casualty dice, we'll put it on them. Okay. You've got your infantry battalion that formed up this turn.
Yep, it's going to fire.
They can fire. I think forming up probably counts as moving, so it'll be at -2. -3 actually, because I'm behind a fence. So you got a 10, that's a good result. So a standard volley at effective range goes down to a 7, so that's 2 casualties on the Union troops. All right, charging on this flank, you formed up, so -2 for moving and -1 because I'm behind a hedge or skirmishers. Again, a good roll. What do you get there, Charlie?
11.
11, so -3 is an 8. So that's pretty good. This is a standard volley. That's 2 casualties and a see the elephant test.
4 now.
Okay, and a see the elephant test. We roll a 5. So we will be unfired. Right, that's it for firing at the end of turn 4. Let's roll for ADCs as we move into turn 5. All right, so we've got some action on the cavalry front. So the cavalry are going to have to fall back because both the Confederate formed units are charging. They'll both have to take discipline tests to go over the hedge line. Which one is this one? That one first. They pass, and the other one? 9. No, they need an 8. So they will go unformed, but they will complete the charge. So those cavalry have to. Right. I got that wrong, as Charlie pointed out. He rolled a 9, and you need to roll high, not low, in this game to pass your discipline tests. So you're actually over that offence if you want to go over it. You have to go over it because the cavalry were behind it. So to drive them away, you had to cross the hedge. So the Confederates on this right flank are doing well and have pushed the cavalry screen back.
On this right flank, I might as well charge. He's going to shoot me anyway. So
yeah.
I'm going to charge in.
Okay, and with your support as well, yeah. All right, so there was nothing to do in terms of defensive fire because the skirmishers just had to fall back. But here we do have a defensive volley by the Union troops. It'll be a normal volley at close range. They don't do well. They get a 6, which is 2. No, it's not. It's infantry fire. 1 casualty on the attacking Confederate unit.
A 1 casualty would be really annoying. Yeah. It's still in minus.
All right, and now we get a charge result.
Wait, do I have to roll?
I do get defensive fire. I get defensive fire from my artillery battery too, and with bounce.
It's going to get a 3.
He doesn't do very well. He only gets a 7.
That's going to really affect me now.
That's the trouble with charging though. So that is 2 more casualties and a see the elephant test. 7 there. That goes down to a 6, but they're veterans, so that takes it up to a 7. So they do indeed pass. So the charge can go in, and we cause 3 casualties on you, and they get over the fence as well. Okay. So now we will have to do the charge result. All right, Charlie is so desperate with his cursed die roll. He did a die roll off camera to get the bad die roll out of the way, and indeed he got a 5. So let's see if we can do any better. So he's got a -1 modifier because of the level of casualties he's taking.
It's going to be a 3.
We both have supports.
I'm predicting a 3.
Oh, we get an 11. He gets a 7. You can re-roll the 1. 7. Okay, so not great. So I've won by 4. So the result is -4, so you retire, as do your supports. So that was bad luck for the rebels. A very fortunate dice roll for the Union there. They rolled an 11. Charlie rolled a 7, and with his reroll he rolled another 1. So they had to retire. So that whole Union brigade, that rebel brigade has been pushed back by the Union troops on that flank. All right, next turn. All right, so on the Confederate right, the brigade that's done the assaulting is just reforming itself up, and its sharpshooters are moving across to hassle the Union guns. On the other flank, the Confederates are redeploying. They've fallen back behind the fence line and are moving a regiment across to reinforce the centre, as they are now, at least in part, holding the crossroads. The Union cavalry have simply formed up, and we'll need to move our general across. I will move him now because we haven't moved on beyond the movement phase, just so he can put some command and control in that direction. Otherwise, the Union's forces have just formed up and got ready for an assault on the crossroads. All right, the Unions fired a few long-range volleys, mainly at Charlie's skirmishers, caused 1 casualty, an exchange of musketry fire across the river, did nothing, and an exchange of musketry fire across this fence line also did nothing on both sides. Charlie's now going to fire his skirmishers. What are you going to fire skirmishers at, Charlie?
On your artillery.
Okay, and there's no modifier. You lose 1 combat dice because I'm in cover. That's the only thing. You've got 2 combat dice then, but you need 6s because you're at long range.
No, nothing.
Okay, and then your artillery can
fire
at you then. Okay, and that's at effective range again, isn't it? And -1 because I'm in cover.
10.
That's pretty good. So that's a 9 at effective range. Is 2 more casualties on me and an elephant test. So I'm on 4, so it's a bit -1. Oh, so that's a 3. That's not great, but I don't think it's a disaster in this game. For regulars on 3, I'm whipped, so I have to fall. Right, I think we'll play 1 more turn and then we'll have a break. But the advantage of Charlie attacking on 2 flanks is now seen. My general's being pulled over the right here to try and counterattack on the crossroads, which means this unit on the left cannot be brought back forward without the general moving across to give it orders to do so. All right, let's roll ADCs. Let's see if Charlie can exploit this as we move into turn 6, I think.
Yes.
Union have got 2 ADCs. How many have you got, Charlie?
The first time in this whole game I've got
All right.
ADCs.
Let's allocate our ADCs. All right, so I have managed to get artillery assault off with my 2 ADCs. Took a risk, had no reroll, and managed to get initiative. Charlie, you're active on both brigades, but we rolled a draw, which means that the Union side carry on having the initiative. All right, any charges to declare for you, Charlie?
No.
No charges for the Union. All right, movement. All right, Charlie's spread out his brigade that was reforming on the left flank to make it a less favourable target for the Union artillery, which is on artillery assault. The Union have started marching across the river to try and recapture this crossroads, but their front brigade unfortunately went unformed in the middle of the river. But we have moved our skirmishers back forward on the right, so we'll be doing some skirmish fire against Charlie. All right, let's start with the skirmishers. Right-hand brigade against your battalion on the left. You've got a casualty dice there, Charlie, that's become adrift from its unit.
Oh, it was here.
Okay, a 3 and a 5, that'll be nothing. And the second one will need 5s, not 6s, because it's at close range. It does 1 casualty against the unit. That one there, Charlie.
Right, is that all you're firing?
No, we will now fire our brigade that's in the middle of the river. So that's at -3.
You moved as well, didn't you?
And I moved. Still only stays at -3. So that's a 7. That goes down to a 4. That will be nothing. So nothing from that. My artillery. Yeah, they've lost fire. They've lost fire discipline. All right, we will fire artillery at your front unit of the Alabama. This will be at quite a long range, but I think still within 30 inches. So we roll a 4. That's terrible. So a 4 is not an artillery casualty, which is a fatigue casualty, which is the only good news. 1 casualty on your front Alabama regiment, Charlie. I will go mark it up for. All right, so we lost fire discipline down here. Now time for the Confederate firing. Where do you want to start, Charlie?
I'll start with my skirmishers.
Okay, so that'll be 2 shots against the guns, needing 6s because of the range. So that's another casualty on the guns, gradually whittling them down.
Okay, so next casualty, they won't have to use artillery assault, will they?
No, you're spot on.
Is it worth firing my artillery?
Well, it might be, might do it, but it's up -3, remember, so you need a good roll.
I'm going to shoot at them.
You do risk a fatigue
I'm going to shoot
casualty.
at them though, because just more
Might just break them.
make more chaos. No.
What did you
I
get?
got a 6 overall, so.
A 6, that might be something at effective range for artillery. A 6 is 1 more casualty on that unit, so they go up to 2.
And then I'm going to do a volley over here.
Yeah.
It's them.
You're veterans, but you're not elites. You haven't moved, have you? No, they were there last turn. I'm not in cover, so just a straight roll for you, Charlie.
Yes.
A 9, that's pretty good. So that's, do you want to just check the range? You want the range to be less than 9 inches.
Okay, I'll check. I've got to take those here,
Which I think it looks like it is. Yeah, it's only 7 inches. So that was a 9, wasn't it?
Yep.
Standard volley, that's 3 casualties, and I see the elephant test on my unit.
Oh,
And they roll a 4.
That's really lucky.
Which is lucky,
Because
because 3 was bad news, wasn't
you're
it?
1 off getting a...
But
you're unformed
3
anyway.
to 5 is whipped, so they are whipped and they unform the unit behind. Right, and then on the right hand side you're firing at skirmishers. So it's,
-2 or -1?
is it -2 for skirmishers?
You're not in cover anymore, so I think it is just -2.
Yeah, I think it's -2. I think it was -3 when they were in cover.
Try to do a roll now?
Let me just have a look. Yeah, -2. So that's a 6. Which one was that one?
This one.
Okay, a 6, and that's the close range volley. Is 1 casualty.
On 5.
Yeah.
This one over here, I think this is...
Flag to the closest part of the unit.
That's 9 that's, I think, just 8 inches.
Okay, so that's close range as well.
Yep.
6, that's a 3. That's a loss of hard discipline on them.
It'll be 4, -2.
Okay. A 4 is a loss of hard discipline as well. All right, we're going to take a pause there. Still in the balance. I think the Confederates are edging it a bit at the moment. The Union haven't brought on their reserves. I don't think they will, because it's still quite closely contested. So we'll see how this plays out. Bye.